No.
Oh, okay then.
No.
You have a gingerbread man?
Yeah, look. There's a guy and a girl.
Wow.
It's very
And
cute.
if you put them together, will you wear a baby around your neck?
But it's there's like little half-eaten chunks out of them too. They're just really cute, and so I thought I would look festive today for.
Oh, okay.
Without the ugly sweater.
I decided to look festive with my Rambo shirt.
Yeah.
I'm just doing the whole Gen X Avengers thing today. I had an MTV shirt on. Didn't look right.
Where's your ugly sweater?
Me?
Yeah. Why don't you have an ugly
Own
sweater?
An ugly sweater. Hey, Mary. Welcome to our virtually live studio audience coming in from South Carolina. Good to have you here.
Hello, Mary.
I don't have one either.
You don't have an ugly sweater? What is wrong with you two?
I wear a t-shirt.
What's going on, Kristen? Listen, even if I had an ugly sweater, once it goes on this body, it's no longer ugly. It's a curse, but my beauty like shares itself to all things. Good evening, John.
I've got a shirt that has Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs and Precious, his dog, and he's holding it. And it says, it has a Merry Christmas. It does this whenever it's told.
It says he's picturing Lord Farquaad milk boarding the gingerbread man in Shrek. Milk boarding.
Lord Farquaad.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. 5 days away?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
My family is actually up in your neck of the woods, Shell, or actually further north of you. They had to go up to visit my in-law for just a few days, and they're scheduled to be back on Monday. But with all the snow you're getting, there's a very real possibility that I'll be home alone for Christmas.
Oh.
So, Mary, I saw Mary's here in South Carolina. I may be joining you for Christmas.
Yeah.
That may be what you win for being the first person to join the broadcast today.
Prepare dinner, Mary.
I like boxed stuffing. I know it's not highbrow, but just make sure there's a can. There's a can of cranberry and a box of stovetop, and I'm good.
Right,
my
because
wife,
you can't make real cranberry.
Your live streams. Somebody says, Jono, you are like, oh, this has to go on the stream. Jono, you are like a Greek god statue, perfect in the, abstract. Oh, that wasn't a compliment.
That was a backside. I like it.
My wife and I both are watching. Unfortunately, she's watching with her coworkers, and I'm at home. Well, I'm glad to have you on. Told you all to bring a friend, so that works. Might as well get started. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hello and welcome everybody to the weekly edition of the Three View Mirror, a broadcast that takes us back to the three greatest decades in the history of time, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, where one of us every week comes up with three seemingly random topics that at the end of the hour, it's kind of up to the other two and our virtually live studio audience to try to piece the pieces together and come up with a hidden connection. It's basically what we do every week, starting at around 5:30 every Friday. And the goal is to get to the end of the episode and see if we can figure it out. But a warning, wait till the end of the end. It's the end before putting your guesses into the chat. We don't want to ruin it for anybody watching on the replay. So at the end, we'll give you guys a chance to flex your mental muscle and let us know what you think. As always, I am John Katrides, better known as Gen X Jono on my social media platform. And I'm joined by two lovely friends in the studio. Shell, say hello.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here for Christmas. I have excellent Christmas topics. John, you have to post that comment right there if you see it by Irish. It's kind of funny. But yeah, find me. I'm all in the Christmas spirit. I've got my gingerbread earrings and my gingerbread necklace, and I'm ready to talk Christmas here today.
And I'm Chris Clues, author and speaker. I write and talk about 80s pop culture and what it can teach us for life and work. And I aspire one day to have as cool a mugshot as John J. Rambo here one day.
Nice.
We'll see.
I didn't know you were going to end that with J. Rambo. I'm like, you've seen my mugshot? But at any rate, welcome to the Three View Mirror.
Looks like you changed it up a little bit.
Changed it up a little bit to add that we go live every Friday, and I'm also using that across social media to try to let people know where we're at and where they can find us if they're so looking. All right, Shell, the floor, as they say,
is mine. I'm your host today. Again, Rochelle, Gen X Show. We are going to talk Christmas today, and I have 3 excellent topics. The last one's so easy to talk about. So the 3 topics are Die Hard.
ooh,
Yes. Gremlins.
Yes.
Yes. And your favorite Christmas movie or TV special. So we're really going to get the audience in here today. So, feel free at the end here when we talk about this, you're going to put your comments in there and of course, save your answers till the end. So where do you want to start?
You're going to connect somebody's favorite that you haven't heard with the other 2.
Magic. Yeah.
Either Magic or one of Rochelle's. Well, listen, going back to 1932, astrologist John C. I mean, it's going to be, we'll see.
Yep. So where do you want to start? You want to start with Die Hard, Gremlins, or you want to talk about your favorite Christmas movies or TV specials?
I want to start with Die Hard.
You want to start with Die Hard? Yeah. All right.
Let's get it out of the way. Let's vote. Is it or is it not a Christmas movie?
Yeah.
It's absolutely a Christmas movie.
Okay, 1, 2, 3 says it is a Christmas movie. Come on, let's see in the chat. Christmas movie or not Christmas movie?
One of the first scenes has Christmas in Hollis from Run DMC, so it's absolutely a Christmas movie.
Yeah, Die Hard.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
Die Hard made that song famous.
It's a Christmas party that he's it's absolutely a Christmas movie. That's
Come on,
why
chat, let's see. Yay or nay? Is it a Christmas movie? I'm going to answer for them. The answer is yes.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. You can't argue it. It even says it on the Wikipedia page. So,
Kevin reminded us last week. I mentioned that it is in fact a Hallmark Christmas movie because it has all the plot devices of a Hallmark movie. Because again, the estranged husband leaving the big city, following the wife, they get connected, they go through some drama, and at the end, tie it all up in a fancy bow and play Christmas music, and that's it. So yes, that's the deal. I will die on that hill.
So I haven't watched Hallmark movies in a while, but are they killing like 35 terrorists?
The good ones.
Movies now?
The good ones are.
Yeah. Cool. Then I might have to start watching them. Especially if they have like explosions at Nakatomi Plaza. I mean, I'm in.
Well, sometimes, the wife's little bakery that she opens up in the hills of Vermont needs a little entertainment, so she blows shit up.
And
there we go. The yeses are coming in.
People make pilgrimages. Pilgrimages. I can't say it right. To the Nakatomi Plaza, which, do you know what it's the Fox Plaza in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It's the Fox Plaza. And so people actually still go there to take their pictures in front of it and so on. And I as I was doing research,
a Christmas card like that.
Yeah. It would be nice.
They should hang Hans from like the people probably think somebody's jumping, but they should put like a mannequin of Hans halfway down the plaza for Christmas. And like New Year's Eve, we have the big ball drop, like the 12 days of Christmas, just like the little thing you can buy. You should have him just coming down a little bit every day until Christmas.
Yes.
Or here comes an ornament.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm just trying to find
Nakatomi Plaza.
What? Oh no. I mean, pretty close, but let's see. Damn you, Scuba Steve.
He's trying to find it on his tree. He has a pop culture tree. We need to see, like, you should take a photo of it. Yes.
And it lights up.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. I like that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Did anyone see the thing that Die Hard is more of a Christmas movie than Rudolph? I did not see that, Kristen, but I'll be looking into that. Please elaborate a little.
Yeah. Well, because Rudolph was pre-Christmas. I don't know.
Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, but rather a delayed Chinese lunar New Year's film. Okay.
Alrighty.
Just gonna leave that there, John.
Just the movie itself, though. I mean, it really did. Like, it's actually a really cool story how Bruce Willis was not even near first choice because he wasn't looked at as an action star. He was doing moonlighting and ended up being the perfect choice for it. And it's just, I mean, I remember watching the movie in the theater and, no pun intended, being blown away by it because it was so, even though it was an action movie and there was a ton of action movies in the 80s, it was just different. It felt different. It was filmed differently. And it was fun. And to this day, I'll watch from beginning to end anytime.
One of my favorite stories about it, I was just telling my husband this today, was that Alan Rickman, Hans Gruber, the scene with the watch where Holly and they're trying to get that watch off of her as he's trying to hang on to her, just this like you were talking about. They were supposed to drop him like an on 3, like Alan Rickman, and then they suddenly dropped him. And that's why the look on his face is so like genuinely scared. That wasn't even acting. That was like genuine fear that came out of him because they didn't do an on 3. They just dropped him and he wasn't expecting it. And that's why it's perfect the way he goes down, that slow motion. Love it.
One of the single most satisfying moments in cinematic history. Alan Rickman made you hate him so much. Like recently, if you guys have been Netflix, maybe I said that like Christmas. But Netflix, there's a movie that just came out on Netflix. Carry On. Have you seen it yet?
We started it. We never got it quite finished.
No, it feels like Die Hard in a sense, just where there's the bad guy that's kind of like wandering. It just has that tempo. And I haven't seen a movie, and I think tempo is the best way I can put it. Die Hard had a speed. It had a tempo. It would ramp up and then slow down, and then ramp up, let you catch your breath and slow down. And it just kept doing that throughout the entire movie. And I think that was what made it so awesome for me, because I think I enjoyed that better than, 100 miles an hour through the whole thing. I loved the fact that he could take a minute and just like slow down, picking the glass out of his feet in the bathroom, just here's a minute, catch your breath, we're about to go again. And I love that about that.
Yeah, and there's a couple, if you look them up online, there's a couple bloopers in that, where Bruce Willis was wearing these like false feet. If you look it up, the pictures of Bruce Willis's false feet in the movie, because he had on these giant rubber feet when he was walking through the glass and such. And you can see it. They're like socks.
I did not know he wore false feet.
Yeah, he had false feet on. Speaking of Alan Rickman, one of my favorite movies of his, besides Die Hard, was Galaxy Quest. I love that movie. Love that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that was it?
What?
I just love it.
I was going to go on.
No, I just love that movie.
Yeah, I'm a diehard geek. I just have probably seen the movie, honestly, close to 50 times. And I don't know. For me, the evolution of Bruce Willis from moonlighting to John McClane and how that just changed, as I mentioned earlier, changed his entire career, but it also changed the way we looked at action heroes. Because prior to that, they were like either big, fast, strong dudes, or even the women, Ellen Ripley and Aliens, big and strong. And it changed our perception of who a hero could actually be, I think, in terms of taking on an entire terrorist gang or what have you, not just, one-on-one, but, and I like that about it too, because it did make people like anybody can be an action hero. It's pretty cool.
And Val Johnson, I can't think of his first name, Val Johnson, the other cop. He's the father in Family Matters. It launched his career. Die Hard launched his career because then he got the role in Family Matters after having done Die Hard.
1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1.
I don't know if the father from Family Matters would have gotten a hold of, did I do that, and throw him out of the window, I might have watched this movie 50 times.
It also had Principal Vernon.
Oh yeah, it did. It did. What is his name? I can't think of it.
I'm gonna forget it.
Yeah.
Somebody knows the actor's name for Principal Vernon, but he was also in Die Hard. And see, look, it even starts to light up as it gets dark. Look.
Grab Thor's hammer. Galaxy Quest.
The light goes. Lights off.
Yeah.
The lights on.
Wow.
I love it.
I remember me having a cut there.
That's for design purposes.
It's such an iconic scene, though. Like, you know, when you see Bruce Willis there with the lighter in the air ducts, like, yeah, that is, there was so much iconic about it. And we were talking about today, since we were discussing these topics prior to the beginning here, like, hey kids, what kind of a Christmas movie do you want to watch tonight? Now, the classic, of course, is Christmas Vacation. Like, we watch that like every year. But I think this year, we asked the kids, we're like, have you seen Die Hard? And not all of them were like, no, they hadn't seen it. I'm like, oh, that's it. This is tonight's Christmas movie. We were watching Die Hard tonight after this podcast.
Very cool.
Come out to the coast. We'll have some laughs.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned like him not being an action star. I think what I loved about his placement, his casting in this movie is he may not have been a Rambo action hero, Arnold Schwarzenegger of the time action hero, even Chuck Norris type action hero, but he's exactly what I would have imagined as a 15-year career New York City on the beat police officer, you know, a detective or whatever his title may have been. That was perfect. He played that perfect and was pushed into the role of somebody who has to meet like impossible odds and win. And that's what made it cool. I don't know that it would have been as cool if it was Arnold Schwarzenegger crawling through those ducks. I'm like, of course he beat the hell out of 15 people. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. But the fact that it was Bruce Willis made it really cool. It's like, wow, maybe I could have saved the day.
No, and you would have been a great anti-hero in the movie. I could have seen you in that movie. Like, you would have made the perfect person in there. Arnold Schwarzenegger was actually up to be cast as John McClane in the movie. But then, you know, and Die Hard was given like dire, like, this is going to be a terrible, terrible movie. And correct me if I'm wrong, they took his picture off of it because they didn't want Bruce Willis, who was formerly of moonlighting fame, to be on the front cover of it. They were afraid that it was going to ruin at the box office.
Yeah,
they didn't. It wasn't even just a slam on Bruce Willis personally. He was a funny guy.
Yeah,
moonlighting was funny. He was a funny, sarcastic guy. They didn't want that to be the face of their action movie.
And and the guy Ellis, just, I don't know, that dude. Hans Bubby, and then gets shot just as you want him to. I think the cokehead guy Ellis.
Oh yeah, and don't forget the guy waiting in the garage the whole time, the chauffeur driver. What was his name?
Oh, Argyle.
Oh yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You've actually had talked to him on social, right?
Yeah, because on there was a National Argyle Day, the Argyle pattern for clothing, and I turned it into National Argyle Day from Die Hard. And I just put a post out with different clips of him in the movie. And he was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it just kind of caught fire and people started sharing it and passing around. So yeah, he and I connected and talked a little bit on social.
Hellraiser makes a good point. Arnold would not make a good John. I couldn't even hear him say, I am John McClane.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother. Yippee-ki-yay. I can't do it. Somebody else do it.
Yeah, he wouldn't even have I don't think he would have run when everything unfolded. He just would have walked out there standing over this barrel chest. Who is doing this?
Jim mentioned same casting for you with Michael Keaton and Batman. I got to say, this really was the era, like the late 80s, early 90s was when they started taking chances with casting, where they made what we refer to as interesting choices. It wasn't the knee-jerk reaction, this is who we need. They were really good about that. You know, you mentioned Sigourney Weaver as far as Ripley and stuff. Wouldn't be like the first thing in my mind based on other stuff she had done, but it worked. They saw beyond the storyline and beyond what the actors typecasting may have brought, but really said, all right, we're gonna pick the right person for this role and prove to the people watching that we picked the right person for this role, and they did.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hey, Doreen, Tampa Bay. Good to see you. Loran. Got a bunch of people just coming in late. Doreen, our topics today, Shell, if you could do a replay.
Our topics today, it's all about Christmas. And we are talking about the absolutely Gen X Christmas movie of Die Hard, the Gen X Christmas movie Gremlins, and your favorite. The third topic is one for all of our audience to participate in, is your favorite Christmas movie or TV special.
That brings you up to speed. Still got a few more minutes to talk about Die Hard, and I think we would be remiss if I didn't bring up the question, was this a good date movie at the time too? Would this, like, what kind of movie was this? There was different movies when we were growing up. Some were the ones where you would take a date, and others were where you all met like en masse in that one section of the theater where all your friends would meet. For me, this was kind of both. I think I saw this movie 3 times in the theater, twice with different friends and once with on a date.
I didn't see it in the theater. I hate to say it. I didn't see it in the theater. No.
I would have taken you, Shal.
Oh, we would have had a date.
We would have had a date. Let the rumors begin.
Yeah. Isn't that what always makes things go like viral is whenever there are rumors?
Chris, when did you said you saw it 50 times since and you remembered seeing it in the theater? Yeah. What was that like? Did you go with a bunch of friends or did you take
I went with a bunch of buddies because I remember because we got to the theater like 30 minutes early. It was a $2 movie ticket at the Village movie theater. And of course they had like Pac-Man and Galaga and maybe some Dig Dug in the lobby. So we would get there early and play some video games before we went in for the movie.
I just remember movies like this were awesome with friends because you watched it together and you'd go to school and you'd read, like you talk about it and what scenes were awesome. It's just the movies carried on. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, we have Scott here. First time caller, long time listener. And you mean to say call her? Want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Like,
long time listener. Sorry.
Yeah, John did bring a date for Beaches, apparently.
Beaches was the ultimate. Because your date got to console you, put her arm around you, and then help you when you were crying. I mean, I got to put my arm around her and console her.
I was just going to say, it just showed your sensitive side. So more about Die Hard. Are we at 15 minutes there?
I love Bonnie Bedelia in it. We haven't mentioned her yet. So the actress that played his wife, I absolutely loved both in Die Hard and Die Hard 2. And the fact that she's the one that lets the reporter have it in both movies. Oh, yeah. So much that he's afraid of her by the second. But like, you can't talk about Die Hard without mentioning like there's the ending and then there's the ending. Like the ending is okay. Hans Gruber goes down, he dies, bad guy's over, the world is saved. But when she slugs that reporter, that is the best moment. Because he put all of their lives in. He's the second bad guy in the movie. A lot of what happened wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for that jerk. And it was nice to see he got what was coming to him also.
He has a very punchable face.
He has a very punchable. You know who he reminded me of for Gen Xers? The reporter following poor David Banner around on the Incredible Hulk television show. He reminded me of him exactly.
He just reminds me.
Don't make me angry, Mr. McGee. He reminded me of McGee.
I don't remember him.
You don't make me angry, Mr. McGee. You won't like me when I'm angry. When Bill Bixby gives that line.
I know all about the Hulk, but I wasn't a regular watcher, so I didn't get to like. I knew all about it, but I'm a girl. We didn't watch the Hulk.
There's lots of girls who watch the Hulk.
I know. I know.
No, I mean, he reminded me of the guy in every 80s movie that had the sweater around his neck. That was like that guy. Oh, that's a Seinfeld episode.
Seinfeld quote.
I like what Wired.
He says he didn't slug the reporter. We all did using her face.
What did Wirehead say right above that? I liked what he had said right above that was Holly. It just cements in. I like that. Holly makes it a Christmas movie. They like absolutely. It just there's your evidence.
Absolutely. And then Irish to close out our segment said there are 3 Playboy models in the film if you count the centerfold in the glass scene.
All right.
Anyone?
No, I don't know. I'm confused, but that's okay. That does.
I guess that's a Google moment.
That's Oh yeah. I don't know. I just didn't. I just didn't love the Hulk. I mean, I watched it a little, but I didn't love it.
All right.
All right. So Moving on, we talked about, for those of you that have just come in, we just got done talking about Die Hard. Now we're going to talk about another favorite Gen X Christmas movie, Gremlins.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, why is this one a Christmas movie? Was it timing? What makes this a Christmas movie?
Yeah, they're the Gremlins Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
I mean, remember when they're like, I don't know what the hell they're saying when they're singing, but I love that scene where they're all Christmas caroling.
It's a
It's been
whole
a long
Christmas.
time since I've seen it.
Oh, it's all Christmas. It's all set up all through the whole entire Christmas season. In fact, didn't the Gremlins, Mogwai, wasn't it something about Christmas Eve at midnight that was the turning point if you got them wet after midnight?
It could
I
be
don't
any
think it was
night.
just Christmas
It could
Eve.
be
You couldn't ever get them
can't
wet, and
feed
you
them
could
after
never
midnight.
feed them after Christmas.
Oh,
after
that's
midnight.
right. Feed them
them
after.
after midnight. You can't get them wet.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure the Mogwai was a Christmas gift from the
Yes.
father to the son.
Oh, was it? I thought just Dad brought him back something from traveling.
Yeah, Gizmo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and was it just me, or do we all get the distinct impression that the father took these business trips a lot, and the gift was like repurposed guilt for meeting up with hookers while he was gone? I just got that vibe.
Oh,
No,
never got it.
No,
just me.
it was Gizmo was great. I loved Gizmo. I felt bad for Gizmo.
Mm-hmm. My favorite, I told you, I think I said this before, because I think we had Gremlins as a topic before. And when he said, one of the Gremlins said, Gizmo, caca. And we would go around saying that. That became like our saying in the early 80s, because I was like, what would I be, like 12, at that point when Gremlins came out. So we were still like middle school joke kinds of things. And we would just go around. If we didn't like something, we'd say, Gizmo, caca.
That was Stripe, I think.
John tells me that it was a rendition of a Chipmunks Christmas song done in baritone.
Oh, okay. Good to know, because I did not know that. I just love the scene where they're all dressed up in their Christmas best. Christmas.
And life is wondering if I'm drinking.
Say all day, every day. No.
Sure. The day that ends in Y.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
And then they went
I love Gremlins. Gremlins 2 was pretty decent as well.
What?
It was all right.
No, it wasn't.
I used Bright Light too. Bright
Bright
Light.
light. Bright light.
Bright Light. Bright Light.
Like Gremlins 2?
No. Not at all.
I use that. I use
Really?
Bright Light as well all the time.
I mean, I don't think it was as good. Lorianne agrees with me, saying, oh, no, she disagrees with me. He wasn't like that. I don't know how you think you know that. Margot.
Unless the carpet all wet, God.
I don't know, Margot. I the Mrs. Deagle, my stepbrother and I always used to, I don't know, something about her name, Mrs. Deagle. We used to say Mrs. Deagle. We used to just say it in a weird way, but she was the one who was trying to get away from them on her motorized cart that went up the wall to get up the stairs. And they just tortured the hell out of her, and I threw her out the window.
Yeah, it was definitely. You think about that, and you're like, that's kind of dark. Like you forget that they were murderous little sons of bitches. You know what I mean?
They were.
Yeah.
And in the movie,
our fourth studio, our virtually live studio audience is saying, "Are you sure you're not thinking Gremlins 3? Because Gremlins 2 was pretty decent. It held up."
The one in New York.
What's Scott saying? I thought I heard Scott in the background. Is he correcting
No,
you?
he's not. No.
Huh.
Which one was the one in New York? Is that 3? 2?
Are you thinking of It was Home Alone 2 was in New York.
No.
It wasn't?
No, yes, Home Alone 2 was, but I was thinking of Gremlins. The Gremlins took over New York in one of the movies.
I'm so confused right now.
Didn't they?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I honestly, I don't. Maybe I didn't even see Gremlins 2. I don't. Was there even a Gremlins 3? I don't even know.
I don't know that there was a 3. It's not me saying maybe it was 2 that had like the movie theme about hookers and strippers. Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe they didn't make a 3. I don't know. Anyway, most memorable deaths are the thing that I loved about Gremlins. They came up with lots of really cool ways to like either hang people up or destroy the Gremlins or meet their grisly end. I thought that was really cool. I remember as a kid just being in anticipation of how the next one was going to go. And especially because like microwaves are fairly new to us at that point in time. The fact that they threw the one in the microwave and like watched it explode, I'm like, dude, that was awesome. I loved that one.
Chill's drinking. Yes. I don't know. I'm not. I swear. It's not a hot toddy in front of me. It's just a tea. Just tea. Just.
The Irish says it was the Muppets that took over Manhattan, not the Gremlins.
I'm telling you, somebody needs to Google it.
Somebody said Gremlins 2 was in New York, so
it was.
Yeah.
Okay, see, I didn't think I was wrong about that one.
And of course, it had the magnificent Phoebe Cates in it. Which,
absolutely.
As a 14-year-old boy, I was all about Phoebe Cates being in a movie.
Somehow it escaped my attention. I don't know if it was my wife that mentioned it or you guys mentioned it here, that she's been married to Kevin Kline all these years.
A long time.
What a win for like the normal guy.
Yeah,
like not the Brad Pitt of movies, not like the Hollywood hottie, but Kevin Kline managed to nail down, no pun intended, Phoebe Cates.
He's funny. That's why.
Funny is sexy?
Yes, by far. That is the sexiest thing. That is the sexiest thing there is. I don't care. Yeah.
All righty then. I still have it.
Ask the girls in the chat. Funny and sensitive is the sexiest thing you could be. So there you go.
Sensitive? Women do not want a guy to be overly sensitive.
Not overly. Yeah. Sensitive enough to kick someone else's ass if they do something wrong to their.
That's not sensitive though.
Yeah. Well,
sensitive would be like, I don't want to
get beaches.
You fight them.
I'm sensitive and funny. Okay. See? I got 2. I'm 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned a bunch of people mentioned the Gremlins death. That was a good one too. In the blender.
Oh, I forgot the blender.
Yeah, the blender was a good one too.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. To get to Chris's point, I'm going to make Chris's point for him. The other thing I love about this movie are the special effects. And Chris will often tell us, and bring back the fact that there was just something special about special effects that were actually special in design. They used puppetry, they used makeup, they used lighting to affect the special effects. I don't think I'd like it as much 100% CGI.
No,
I think the fact that it was like that made it more tangible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. I agree. 100%. That's why there's a Nosferatu movie coming out next week that I'm really looking forward to, because it looks like they did a lot of practical special effects, which is what I've been screaming about for a long time.
Gremlins 3 is in development at the moment.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that I did not know. Okay, so there was no 3, and funny.
Yeah, Zach Galligan, who was the main actor, has been talking about it for a while. And it's funny that he was the main guy, and who else was in it? Who was not? It was Corey Feldman.
Yeah, we talked about him a couple weeks ago being in Gremlins, didn't we?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get the light to hit my gorgeous blue eyes.
Oh Jesus! Oh God!
Wait a minute. You said Corey Feldman in Gremlins. Why is that escaping my memory?
He played Pete, I think.
Really?
Yeah. And he was, and I just find it interesting that you had this, Zach Galligan was the lead, but Corey Feldman at that time, he was a little too young to be the lead, so he couldn't actually pull that off because he was about to go on a pretty good run after Gremlins.
Yeah.
With the Goonies and the Lost Boys and Stand By Me and License to Drive, he went on a nice little run there. I love Gremlins. It's the magic that I look for in movies.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Stripe? Oh no!
Hey,
better.
So my buddy JC, who's in the comments, owns Kryptonite Creations. And he sends me stuff that I use as props on a lot of videos. And this is one he sent me recently. And basically just says, fuck around and find out on the very bottom.
Because it's a Gen X movie, a Gen X saying.
I mean, this was a rite of passage as kids.
Yeah.
It's definitely something I think most of us Gen Xers remember seeing. It sticks in our memory.
Yeah.
There's certain movies that made their way from the screen into Gen X pop culture, and Gremlins is 100% one of those.
Yeah.
I don't know how many there are. I don't know what the definition of a movie that I just know it when I know it. And this was one of them. You can't be a Gen Xer and not have to at least jokingly offer to give up your Gen X card if you haven't seen Gremlins.
Mm-hmm. And, when you were talking about the special effects, one of my favorite special effects, and it's creeped me out, was when they actually got the gizmo wet, and then it was bubbly, and it was like smoky, and all those little egg babies were popping out of its back. Like that was, it gave me the creeps, and ugh.
Yes.
Well, and I mean, you said, somebody in the comments said that Gremlins scared them as a kid. It was a scary movie. I'd forgotten how scary a movie it was until I thought it'd be cute to watch it with Cleo, who was probably 8 or 9 at the time. And she's like watching it, and she was scared.
Mm-hmm.
But I never looked at the Gremlins as scary because they were funny at the same time. I mean, it was the things they did was funny, even though they were killing and traumatizing people.
Well, I mean, they were like these little, I don't know, they were like little Muppets.
Yeah.
And I guess people just kind of allowed them to get away with things in the movie and just accepted it. I don't know. People didn't look at it as horror, but it kind of was.
John, you may want to check your cap locks button because that was even scarier in all caps. Was Furby modeled after Gizmo? Asks Doreen. I absolutely thought there was way, way, way too much of a resemblance to be coincidental.
Mm-hmm.
Furby was absolutely a gremlin.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. So have we met our time here?
We've met our time, but I got one other question. Is it just me, or there's like a mini Mandela that some people remember his name being Stripe, and a lot of us, me included, would have spent a lot of money on a lost bet saying that it was Spike. Is it just me, or does Spike see? I thought I get that it's Stripe. I see that there's a stripe in his hair, but his hair is also spiked. And I remember, and I just want to know if I'm the only one. Does anybody else, now that we say Stripe, okay, the new reality reasserts itself, and everyone's like, that's right. But if you asked me 20 minutes before the episode, I would have died on the hill saying, no, the bad gremlin's name was Spike.
I don't know. I never got into that argument.
Well, Spike sounds scarier, more of a bully than Stripe. So
yeah.
maybe, but
JC says Spike. It's not me. Says it was Stripe. I get that it's understood to be Stripe. I'm not saying we're all wrong. I just wanted to know if anybody else remembered or misremembered it being Spike. And there's at least a couple in there.
I never gave it much thought. Spike would be a much cooler name. Yeah. Sounds menacing, like you said.
More like a bully.
Yeah. Yeah.
Feldman even said it. It's spiky. I'm gonna dig into this one. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
All right. Well, we're at the 38-minute mark, so only running 8 minutes late. Which, given the topics today, I don't think is bad at all.
No. And I'm really looking forward to this last segment because since this is all about Christmas movies, I want to hear a little bit about everybody's favorite. It's time to reminisce. Christmas for me is the time of year when you spend it with family. You think about past Christmases. It's the entire season. I'm a Christmas fan, Christmas lover. And to go back and think about all of the Christmas movies and TV specials over the years, I'm curious as to what people's in the comments, like, what are your favorite Christmas movies and TV specials? And I only say TV specials too, because as a Gen Xer, you sat crisscross applesauce right down in front of that floor model console TV made by Zenith, okay, with the big giant cabinet at 8:00 on the dot so that you could watch those Christmas specials. And I love hearing what other people's thoughts are on some of their favorites, movies or TV.
I mean,
starting to come in now.
I love The Year Without a Santa Claus because I like the Heat Miser.
Heat miser. Mm-hmm.
He's Mr. Green Christmas. He's Mr. 101.
He's Mr.
Wait,
Sun.
which one's the one with
Did
baby?
that touch? Melt
Which
my
one's with what?
touch. What?
Which one's the one with Baby New Year?
Ugh.
That was
Rudolph Shiny New Year. It's not a Christmas movie. That's a New Year movie.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that one there was with the creepy tall Mr. Frost. Yeah, whatever his name was. I can tell you though, like my personal, like the Star Wars one. You're nuts. That's a lie. That is a lie right there. Did you ever see Nestor the long-eared donkey?
Oh my God, it's so depressing.
Nestor the ball baby donkey is what we always called him. That donkey was crying every 3 seconds all through there. And you're right. It
That
was
was like Eeyore on a Christmas movie. I was not impressed.
No, I hated that one. So you could, if you want to talk about hated ones too, that'd be fun.
I felt so bad for Nestor.
Nestor the ball baby donkey. That's what we always called him.
What's funny is I'm not seeing a lot of duplicates. Everyone's got their favorite. Every favorite that someone's mentioning, I have a soft spot for.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, it's good.
I've never seen it either.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Yeah. If you like Tim Burton, I love Tim Burton, and he's so weird and so awesome, and he's just got this. Even like his Legend of Sleepy Hollow is really cool. Like he just has a way with, I
don't know. Somebody mentioned, now see, I lost it now. Never mind. Someone mentioned another one that I had. Emmett Otter's Junk Band Christmas.
Donkey. I will boot you. I will permanently block you. I hate Dominic the Donkey. I hate the song. I didn't know there was an actual TV show. That song is god awful, and yeah. Somebody mentioned rapping movies. That's a cool concept. What's that?
Who's Dominic the Donkey?
Dominic. It's that Italian Christmas song.
I've never heard that in my whole life.
You have.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have. You have to look it up. You've heard
it.
If it gets in my head, it'll never get out. So I'm not playing it. But at any rate.
Okay, so we talked about specials. Let's go with movies now. I want to hear movies.
They mixed them in a little bit. Scrooged. It's a Wonderful Life started out on the big screen. We've talked about Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, classic.
That was last week. Yeah.
For me, what's weird is movies that I loved in TV shows. More for the specials for me, I guess, that I absolutely loved as a kid are almost painful to watch now. And ones that I really didn't appreciate as a kid at all, I have a new appreciation for as an adult. It's a Wonderful Life is a great example. You couldn't have paid me as a child to watch that black and white, what seemed like 8-hour-long movie about a guy that wants to end himself, spends 90% of the movie showing just how sucky his life actually was. There's nothing wonderful about it. He had his ear burnt on a stove by an old man he worked for. His life sucked. And yet somehow at the end of it, it's I enjoy it now. My wife hates it. She goes, that is the most depressing. He's an idiot if he thought he had a wonderful life. Yeah, he had a horrible life.
I said that in another episode of this. I never liked that movie ever. I think it was our Thanksgiving special when we were talking about that. I've never liked It's a Wonderful Life at all. I watched it one time and I was like, I'm never watching this again. And I was an adult.
Night of the Comet, I never even heard of.
Oh, it's good.
Until it showed up in a video that a bunch of us put together.
It was on last night and I was just flipping the channels and it was just starting. So I watched it. It was the 1966, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. And it was Boris Karloff, a famous Dracula fame who voiced the Grinch. And it was really good. Like, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. And it made me think about like how difficult it was to do animation back then.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the special we all remember as kids?
Yeah, but
the cartoon Grinch?
Yeah, the cartoon Grinch, but it was like 1966 when it came out. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a lot older than you think. And we still say stink, stank, stunk.
I always felt bad for the dog.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, the A-Team Christmas special. Oh my God.
Miracle on 34th Street. It's another one I didn't really like very much as a kid. Liked it now. I agree with Beth. I never liked A Christmas Story.
Oh, Beth. No, not even when he comes down not when he says,
Nah.
shoot your eye out.
Nah.
Eh.
That movie could have been a 15-minute short story. It could have been a short film. There was just so much downtime in that movie for me. It was just slow and just went on and on. And I get it. You want a BB gun for Christmas. Okay.
You can actually, in Ohio, you can actually visit the actual house. They turned it into a museum, the Christmas Story house.
Luna brings up the A-Team Christmas special. That's the other thing I don't think we've ever talked about. There's Christmas specials, and there's Christmas movies, but there was also everyday television shows, whether it was a sitcom or a drama or Little House on the Prairie or the Waltons or the A-Team. They took time out to always make a Christmas episode, you know, and Friends did it with Thanksgiving. They kind of kept that tradition going, but you don't really see that so much today. I don't know if it's because there aren't long seasons anymore, and I don't know why. But I can't think of the last show that I really enjoyed watching that had a special themed Christmas movie and it had a Christmas episode and have that be normal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you think it's because of maybe, you know, there's other religious holidays of the season, and maybe,
Sure.
you know,
Secularism probably plays a role into it.
Yeah. And nowadays we're more sensitive to that. Whereas, you know, in the 80s, 90s, whatever, we were like, you know.
I don't know. I mean, the Friends had Big Bang Theory had the Big Bang Theory just ended a few years ago. They had Christmas specials.
More than a few years ago, dude. Time's going.
2019.
Yeah. 5 years already. That seems crazy.
Yeah,
Almost
5 years.
6.
Young Sheldon had it recently,
But they're few and far between. It's not the norm. It was the norm. The Cosby Show, I mean, every Cheers, every show, you're like, okay, it's Christmas. When will be there with their episode focused on it? It wasn't a question of if, and it was every single show. Now, I will say, like, just before I forget, because I've forgotten twice, my all-time favorite Christmas movie is still The Ref. Dennis Leary. Oh, dude.
I mean, I love that movie, but I didn't even
I
think
can
about that.
quote it. The familial, the fact that they are so broken as a family, it's hilarious. And yet, you know, they still love each other. And you know, there's no doubt that it's going to get taken care of or whatever. Just the dysfunction in a Christmas movie just did it for me. I loved it. I loved Leary's one-liners. Yeah. I loved everybody got good writing. Every character had their moment in that film. That's my favorite. If I have a Christmas present to give out to all of y'all, find The Ref if you can and see it if you haven't, because a lot of people that haven't seen it.
I've never seen it. And I like Dennis Leary. I do. I think he has that, like that one-liner, almost dry delivery kind of sense of humor, and I like that.
No, 2 favorite lines. The son is upset with his mother. She's finally just pushed him over the edge. He goes, you know what I'm going to get you next year for Christmas, Mom? A big wooden cross. So whenever you're feeling underappreciated, you can just climb on up and nail yourself in. And then, of course, Leary gets tired of the same woman who's a widow. And he finally turns and goes, lady, your husband ain't dead. He's hiding. I like it.
Chris,
Christmas-related episode series. If you ever see that we stop talking for a minute and look lost, it's because we're reading all of your comments, because your comments are like the second half of this show. And I really try not to miss anything, but it's hard.
That's what she said.
Not so much in your 50s.
Not a good day. Oh, no, we're not going there. We're not going there again. Knock it off.
It's a Christmas episode.
It's a Christmas episode. Knock it off. Stop it. Behave yourselves. Blister Bill,
saying, earlier we were like, Christmas, and that's from Better Off Dead, which is a Christmas movie.
Somebody mentioned Lethal Weapon as well. Lethal Weapon being a Christmas movie set at Christmas, and they have that famous like Christmas tree lot fight, shoot out something or another. We were talking about that today too.
12-year-old enters the room. Yep, that was me.
Wait, what Gen Xer isn't 12-year-old? It isn't 12 years old somewhere in the back of there. We're all thinking it. You just happen to say it. So
I don't know. I miss the era of time, and I've said it a million times, and I'll probably say it a million more, when specials were special. When you're like, oh, every day we watch a different movie, and I would gather to make a guess that you decide ahead of time and you stream it or you go get it, and it's on your schedule. And I miss the days when our schedule wasn't necessarily our own, and I know it's better this way. I know it's easier this way, but I miss the days when if you missed Rudolph, you missed it and it hurt and it sucked, because that made it so much more amazing when you didn't miss it.
mm-hmm.
When you knew Frosty was on, you had the TV guide, right? And you planned Christmas around two pieces of paper, one being a Sears catalog and the other being the TV guide. One
Mm-hmm.
telling Santa or your parents what you wished for, what you hoped for, what you wanted. And if you didn't get it, you didn't get it. And you learned to live on and hope for another year. And the other being the TV guide, where you planned your night, your week, your month of December. And if you missed it because you were at a concert that day again, well, then there's always hope for next year.
Mm-hmm.
But you had to wait because you can't have everything. You pick and choose. And I miss that.
Yeah,
I might not be making any sense.
No, we talk about the idea of like, the convenience the technology provides us and the ability to have everything at our fingertips. And it's nice when you need something, but there is something romantic about not always getting what you want. And we talk about that with Blockbuster, going into the Blockbuster store and hoping that a movie was there, but there's never a guarantee that it was going to be there. And maybe you waited by the return bin to see if somebody brought it back. But I do enjoy having everything when I want it, but I also miss that feeling of I've got to be here at this moment or else. Or I'm going to have to wait.
The unintended consequence of being able to watch everything anytime you want is that the unintended consequence is often we don't watch anything. Because I could watch Rudolph anytime I wanted to, I probably didn't watch it the last 3 Christmases. But this Christmas, it was on NBC for the first time in like 50 years. It brought back to NBC. And we made a plan as a family to be in our seats to watch it live. And it's the first time we actually watched it. Because when you can do something anytime, there's no urgency around doing it.
I think having all of that stuff at our fingertips too, life is more complicated. We have to have that stuff on demand because life is just too crazy now. The hours are, and even think about like people that, it used to be you couldn't get gas. I can remember you had to fill up with gas before Christmas because everything was going to be closed. There was nothing going to be open on Christmas Eve day or Christmas Day. And now most of the stuff is open. It's like Thanksgiving, going to Walmart for Black Friday, it's just always open and it's always there. And I think it just symbolizes for me that we are way too busy as a society. And I think sitting down at 8:00, that's why we miss it, is because it was such a nice time and you made your plans ahead so that you could be there at 8:00.
Well, and it became must-see TV. It became scheduled. It became family time by definition because your kids couldn't tell you, oh, I'll watch it later. I'll do it later. Can we do it tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going out with my friends. The can we do it tomorrow perennially, especially as parents with older kids, means it's not going to happen.
Never. And never October.
It will happen. We can't do it tomorrow. We don't have to do it today, but we literally can't do it tomorrow. So, and there's not enough moments of those in life anymore. That's the unintended consequence.
Yeah.
I agree. Now I'm getting like very nostalgic about being in my family room when I was 5, 6 years old in my feetsy pajamas, waiting for, Rudolph to come on at 8:00. I got to stay up until 8:30. And I ruined it one year because I was sick. And right before Rudolph came on, I threw up all over Candyland. We were playing the Candyland game and I threw up all over the board and ruined Rudolph for that year.
Aww.
But I'm nostalgic the same way. I'm imagining myself with my 2 brothers and both my parents. And it was just, they gifted the TV viewing to us special, right? It wasn't what they wanted to watch necessarily. but I had a lot more of those nights as a kid with my parents than my kids had with me as a parent, at least centered around television.
Mhm.
We've created other experiences for our kids that my parents would never dream of having done with us. And maybe that's also what made it special, is we weren't the main characters in our stories as kids, the adults were. So
Mhm.
when it became about us, it sticks in our memory and makes us nostalgic for that moment.
Yep. I mean, I can see it now.
Fa rah 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 rah.
And
Yep, that was like I remember that was one of the fun. Like I'm making duck tomorrow. In fact, because remember that on Christmas Story when they went out for duck,
oh,
and
you're
they had
making duck?
At the
yeah
Chinese
at
restaurant.
the Chinese restaurant, and then they came around and they sang. You know,
I'm so jealous.
You couldn't do that scene today.
no, you couldn't do that today.
That is so wrong.
But it's so memorable.
Except that I mean, it's wrong in some ways, but it is true that people go to Chinese restaurants on Christmas Day.
The fact that they couldn't say their L's.
Well,
Yeah, it's very
That's a little that's just stereotypically wrong.
yes.
That perpetuates a negative stereotype of our Asian brothers and sisters.
That's
and
right.
I thought it was fucking hilarious.
But that's I you could go back on so many Gen X movies and say so many things, and we've talked about this.
Oh, I'm being told that they cut it. I'm sure they did, and some. I bet you if you watch it, the scene is cut. I could see that it would be. I get.
Oh,
Listen, I've said it a million times. We're allowed to evolve as people, as a culture, and realize that things can be offensive to the point of not needing to be. So we're like, okay, it was funny, but it's offending enough people that it's wrong that we would intentionally offend someone.
mhm.
I get it. I still liked it.
At the time, I remember it being funny, but you're right. It does perpetuate that stereotype.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not gonna. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I see it.
Moving on.
Mhm. Yes. So, okay, we've given this 15 minutes, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. Okay, so we have talked about Die Hard, we talked about Gremlins, and we talked about your favorite Christmas movies and TV specials. So, do you have any idea what the connection may be? There are a bunch of connections, actually. There's some minor connections, there's some major connections, and I'm going to wrap it up in a nice little bow here at the end for you, unless you have the connection. And so we'll ask first, who do you want me to ask first? The either of you or the studio audience?
I mean, I'm looking through the studio audience right now. Take care, Doreen. Enjoy your family dinner night.
My only connection is Christmas.
Yeah. Is Christmas the connection?
Christmas is not the connection.
Is the fact that Gremlins and Die Hard and people's favorite movies and TV shows are somebody's favorite movies and TV shows?
No, it is a Gen X thing. Definitely to talk about some of these movies. And it's funny because none of the newer stuff was listed whenever people were talking about this, because we are definitely a Gen X audience. And so nobody mentioned some of the newer ones. I saw, I think Scrooge maybe was the newest one mentioned, maybe. But
feels like a new Christmas movie, and it's 40 years old.
Exactly. I mean, so the connection, I can give you a little bit of a hint if you have nothing. I would think that Chris might be closer to this than maybe John would have been, only because
Christmas,
and that knowing his knowledge of some of this stuff, of classic 80s stuff. I'll tell you, it's a movie.
I'm saying Corey Feldman. So Corey Feldman was in Gremlins.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman was not in Die Hard.
No.
Although he was in people's favorite Christmas stuff at times. So that's a good guess that a person like that could be connected.
It's a movie. And in the comments here, and one of the reasons I wanted this third segment was because I wanted to see if anybody would actually say the connection before they even knew it was the connection, just to hear that. So, I mean, you can scroll back all you want to, but we're talking about a movie connection here. So, as Chris is like, you see his eyes going back.
I was trying.
I I wanted to make the audience name it without knowing that they named it. It is.
And did they?
Yeah. They did.
Scrooge.
No, I just said that one. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I said it.
Yeah, no.
Christmas. It better not. It better not be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation again.
No, it's not again because we just did that one last
again
week.
after loving that movie. I'll be very annoyed.
No, it's not Christmas Vacation. Chris is. I see the smoke coming out. Like Chris is thinking. We could go back. We could talk about one of Chris's favorite topics besides music. We can talk about people like John Hughes and the big guys of the '80s that did things in the '80s. The directors and the.
I'm with you, Wirehead.
I don't know.
I got nothing.
Okay. All right. Do you know who wrote Gremlins? No. An associate of John Hughes.
Columbus?
It was Chris Columbus.
Yeah.
Okay.
From Home Alone.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Home Alone is the connection. And
how is that connected to Die Hard?
I don't know, but I got points.
You got a half a point. Somebody in the audience already, their name scrolled by so fast. Somebody said Home Alone was one of their favorite Christmas movies.
Yeah,
the whole series. We have minor connections, by the way, because New York was actually a thing. When you were mentioning New York, Home Alone 2, Gremlins 2, both New York. McClane was a New York cop. Okay, so I figured that is a minor connection there, but there's also one other greater connection of Home Alone to Die Hard. So we have Home Alone and Gremlins being connected, being directed and produced by, Chris Columbus wrote Gremlins. He also wrote The Goonies. He also did Adventures in Babysitting. Mm-hmm. And then he produced and directed Home Alone. How does all of that connect to Die Hard then? Nothing. Crickets.
Yeah.
Fragile. All right. I'm just giving it up then. And I mentioned her too, Holly. It has to do with Bonnie Bedelia. And see if our audience knows this one.
I just like saying Bonnie Bedelia.
Bonnie Bedelia.
She wasn't
Amelia Bedelia.
She was in Gremlins?
No.
I am so lost.
Me too. And now I'm forgetting what the first part of it was. You're dragging it on and I'm forgetting the other half.
Bonnie Bedelia.
This is not wrapping it up in a neat little bow. This is the exact opposite of wrapping it up in a neat little bow. This is Michelle being like, here you go.
No, Bonnie Bedelia is Macaulay Culkin's aunt.
So what
does that have to do with Die Hard?
Die Hard. Bonnie Bedelia in Die Hard is Macaulay Culkin's aunt. The connection is Home Alone. The connection is Home Alone.
You took so long, I literally forgot what we were trying to do. So the connection is Home Alone.
The connection is Home Alone.
Because it's somebody's favorite movie in the comments. So that satisfies number 3.
Yeah.
It's Chris Columbus wrote both Gremlins and Home Alone.
He produced Home Alone and directed. Yeah.
Okay. And Bonnie Bedelia is Macaulay Culkin's aunt. On mother's side or father's side?
I believe it's paternal.
Okay. That makes a difference.
Yeah. No.
All right.
Okay. Everybody said mine was a stretch last week. That's
not a stretch. Those are connections connecting Christmas movies. We connected up these Christmas movies.
It's actually kind of genius. The connection was amazing. The topics were incredible. The delivery could have used some work.
I'm sorry. I was trying to make it easy, but I thought for sure Chris was getting this. I thought because listen, there's a lot of minor connections between. I was even writing some of them down. Chris Columbus actually, it has a lot to do with Christmas because Chris Columbus actually left. He was supposed to be director for Christmas Vacation, but he left Christmas Vacation because he had a problem with Chevy Chase.
But Chris
Yeah.
Columbus and John Hughes were tight.
Yes.
And, yeah, that John Hughes directed Home Alone.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And
No, people are like, that was tough. No, I mean, if the connection between the three topics being Home Alone makes all the sense in the world. Now that we understand what you were trying to explain.
Yeah.
There was a while there that I thought there was a fourth gingerbread that buried itself through your ear into your brain, and you were unable to communicate properly. But now I get it.
I really wanted to bring it back to classic 80s stuff too, because we're talking about Gremlins, Goonies, all of those movies that people don't really understand were with all those connections of 80s movies and things, and connecting that nostalgia. You put your gift inside of a box.
Have you done it, Sal? You've done it, haven't you?
I'm not saying. I thought it was a very, very difficult topic, or a difficult connection, but I thought I wanted someone to name it, and someone did.
And if they didn't name it, you never would have had the third connection. You took a risk.
I did.
And of course, it's always a good thing to talk about a movie that had John Candy in it.
Yeah.
Without
He
a
was
doubt.
the man.
I almost used him as the connection because, of course, it's Macaulay Culkin really is kind of the connection too. I almost used John Candy because they noticed Macaulay after he did Uncle Buck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, after Uncle Buck. But I figured if I said Uncle Buck, you guys, you would get
John Candy.
If I said John
Alone
Candy
came
and
out
Uncle
in
Buck.
1989.
90.
I thought it was 89. I could have sworn it
1990.
just made the 80s.
Yeah.
1990. Home Alone.
And of course, Macaulay Culkin he's on the cusp, but he is a Gen Xer.
When did he do My Girl? After Home Alone?
I believe.
After. I think
I also thought about connecting with My Girl as well, but I had to keep it in the Christmas movies.
That was a tough movie. Oof.
I just had my kids watch The Good Son with Macaulay Culkin, just to show them another side to like what our movies were like. And when you see Macaulay Culkin basically saying, "Don't fuck with me," and he uses that language as this little cherub, it's like, wow, okay. I was 20 when Home Alone came out, and I still have feelings of nostalgia to it as if I'd seen it when I was 8. So the beauty of that movie for me is that it takes you back to being an 80s kid. It felt very much like something very Christmas Story-ish in a sense, that there was a lot going on. To put it to a movie I don't particularly care for. Maybe I got to give it another chance. I don't know. It's been a while.
The house.
What?
The house that they used in Home Alone is in Illinois, which of course John Hughes used in many of his things. And I also wanted to connect to Nakatomi Plaza, the Fox Plaza. I did mention that. Home Alone was also a 20th Century Fox film too, and I thought maybe somewhere in there you would get that it was another good.
That would have helped me make a connection.
Yeah, no, this was very Blackish, Rochelle. This was one of yours, no doubt. But next week we go back to one of mine.
Oh man, somebody, Irish Thomas J can't see without his glasses. Man, now I'm gonna have to somebody else said definitely not in the Christmas spirit. My Girl. But a great movie. So
next week, the 27th, we'll still be here 5:30. Or no Christmas plans taking you out?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, it's 2 days after Christmas. It's over. I'm so depressed that Christmas is in 5 days. I need more time.
I have to work Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
I work Christmas Eve.
And by the way, just so you guys know, that Gen X does rule, because we were talking about Home Alone. There's like all these commercials this Christmas, if you haven't noticed, that are bringing in Gen X nostalgia. So Dick's Sporting Goods is like that with JJ Watt is fantastic and brings in a ton of Gen X nostalgia with Christmas Vacation, other ones. And then I can't remember I don't know what the product is, but there's a whole Home Alone one now, where the mom's in the store and she's like looking for Kevin, and Kevin Hart is there and Kevin Durant.
Yeah. I've seen that one.
There's an Uber with Macaulay Culkin, I think, an Uber commercial, or something about being in New York and needing an Uber. This is a support group for Gen Xers. It absolutely is.
Support group for Gen X.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. I like it. I was going to say yippee-ki-yay, motherfuckers, but
Well, listen, we're at the end. We will let you know if there's going to be a December 27th show at this point, maybe.
It's the only reason it's a maybe for me is I have to work all day, both days, and we may be celebrating Christmas with other family by that Thursday or Friday. I don't know.
Stay tuned. Keep an eye.
Yeah.
I'm thinking yes. Maybe we'll just replace Shell with somebody else.
You will not. You can't do this without me.
Who else would wrap things up in a nice, neat bow like that?
I did.
Right.
You can't help it. I can't help it. You couldn't get it, and you didn't get a whole point.
That was wrapped
Wish
up as
you
good as
guys
my
have
Christmas.
the
As good as
best
my Christmas
Christmases
wrapping.
ever. Merry Christmas to both of you and your families. I feel like you guys are a family. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody that becomes our virtually live studio audience every week, and everybody watching in replay. Wish you the absolute happiest of holidays. Enjoy your Festivus and whatever else you may be celebrating. Be good to one another. Love you.
You were starting to sound like Tiny Tim. Merry Christmas.
God bless us.
Every one of us. Every one of you. Yes, yes. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Peace. There's the out. Can't find it.
You can't find the out button.